But first, the nation is reeling from a new tragedy today. 3 Baton Rouge police officers were killed early yesterday morning after they responded to a call about a man with a rifle. Brad Garofalo, Matthew Gerald, and Montrell Jackson were gunned down. Several others were injured. The shooter has been identified as a former Marine, Gavin Long of Kansas City, Missouri. Officers eventually shot and killed him. This all follows the police killing of Alton Sterling in Baton Rouge, Philando Castile in Minnesota, and the ambush of police in Dallas. David Begnaud has more.
Rapid gunfire is heard on cell phone video taking place during the deadly assault.
Shot fire, officer down! Shot fire, officer down!
The shooting began Sunday morning when Baton Rouge police responded to a 911 call about an armed man.
He was wearing all black, standing behind a beauty supply store, holding a rifle.
The suspect, 29-year-old Gavin Long, opened fire on the officers minutes after they arrived on scene. Long was killed in a shootout, which lasted roughly 8 minutes.
Hero is not even a word for those police officers out there, those sheriff's deputies and those city officers. I mean, just incredible human beings.
3 officers from 2 different departments were killed in the standoff. 45-year-old father of 4, Brad Garofalo, 41-year-old former Marine, Matthew Gerald, and 32-year-old Montrell Jackson, who had just become a father. 3 other officers were taken to the hospital, 1 in critical condition. Charles Cavalier is Officer Jackson's uncle.
He knew the dangers of the job also, but he loved it. So, you know, if you die doing something you love, I guess that's the way it is.
Sunday's shooting is a blow to the community, still reeling from the death of Alton Sterling. Baton Rouge police fatally shot Sterling earlier this month, sparking nationwide protests. On July 8th, Officer Jackson reportedly posted his thoughts on what happened to Facebook. Quote, "I'm working in these streets, so any protesters, officers, friends, family, or whoever, if you see me and need a hug or want to say a prayer, I got you." This latest tragedy is another devastating loss for police departments across the country. Just over a week ago, Dallas lost 5 of its own officers, targeted by a gunman.
I said that killer would not be the last person who tries to make us turn on each other, nor will today's killer. It remains up to us to make sure that they fail.
And David Begnaud joins us now from Baton Rouge. David, can you take us through the scene there and the latest on the investigation?
Yeah, before I do that, I want to give you a little bit of quote. You heard Officer Jackson's quote on Facebook. There was an earlier part of that quote that I want to read to you, which I think is pretty compelling. This was on July 8th that he posted this on Facebook. And the first part of his statement read like this, quote, "I swear to God I love this city, but I wonder if this city loves me." The reason that quote is important is because that came around the time they were having protests here in the city following the death of Alton Sterling here in the city of Baton Rouge. The protests were largely peaceful, but officers like Officer Jackson were exhausted. They weren't feeling the love. They were feeling the hate being directed toward them by a lot of people who said, hey, it's not hate. We're simply doing what we believe is our obligation in protest. I wanted to share that with you. The latest on the investigation. What we have confirmed, at least through law enforcement officials, is they have no doubt about it. They believe what happened to the officers yesterday was an ambush. They believe the gentleman who came here, the man who opened fire on these officers, had every intention to kill them. They believe he placed himself at this convenience store in Baton Rouge, just a mile from the police department, and waited, was positioned in a place where he knew the officers were responding, and he waited for them to arrive, and he opened fire.
David, it's hard not to think of Alton Sterling's 15-year-old son, Cameron. He spoke so eloquently to you last week, asking for peace in wake of his father's death. How is the community reacting to yet another tragedy?
Well, Cameron Sterling's mother put out a statement yesterday calling what happened here despicable and disgusting. The community is stunned. You have people who don't even want to talk because they're worried that even reacting to what happened either to the Sterling death or to what happened to the officers is going to inflame the dialogue in some way and turn people against them. Let me kind of set the scene for you where we are. So this is the Be Quick. This is where we're told the gunman was first found. And there are surveillance cameras all over the place. We've been told that almost everything, from the killing of the officers to the takedown of the gunman was captured on video. One of the cameras right here under the overhang to where people were filling up their cars, that was a crucial one. Another one down the way over here on the Be Quick building is another camera. And in the distance, the car wash detail area, there was actually a camera that captured one of the police officers vacuuming his patrol car before he was shot. Another camera inside the store got another officer who was in the store just buying something before he was shot. Here's another thing we heard from our law enforcement sources that is chilling. The movements of the gunman are described as tactical and gifted. Here's why. We're told that surveillance footage shows the gunman sliding alongside one of the buildings, pausing, looking around a corner, and then stepping out to open fire on the officers. Then going back, retreating behind a building, pausing for another moment, watching and waiting for more officers to arrive, and then opening fire. Again, remember, this lasted 8 minutes, Meg. 8 minutes from start to finish. That's an incredibly long period of time, and that's why you had 6 officers shot before the SWAT team was finally able to move in and take the gunman down.
All right, David Begnaud for us in Baton Rouge. Thank you.